We are here today because we're going to learn about what's new in employee benefits and gifts for 2023. Um, this is a half and half event, meaning half of it's going to be about presentation and from Nancy and Patty. And then the other half is breakout rooms so that we can learn from them and from questions that we have for them, as well as learn from each other about what's working for each other. And this is sponsored by the Resource Referral Center. I'm going to tell you a little bit about that organization. So, what is the Resource Referral Center? It's an organization that's like a Angie's List, only for B2B services, and it's a part membership organization and part marketing agency. So we match the right vendor to what your company needs because we reach out to the general business community, and then we network and give leads among each other as well. So the advantages to you in terms of what we do, all our vendors are thoroughly vetted and recommended. They each have a minimum of 10 years in business and 15 years in their field of expertise. So we've limited it to no newbies. And these are experts that are highly reliable, and they all have testimonials and case studies. And we maintain a website where your company can find the right vendor with just a couple of clicks. And then we give you a personalized introduction to the right person at that company. So not just an underling, but to somebody at the top. And these are the benefits to you. It's easy and convenient to find the right vendor and to get that introduction. You can get multiple vendors all in one place, one-stop shopping. Get a recommended and reliable vendor without wasting time searching online or having to put a lot of time in networking or trying out somebody who isn't reliable or inexperienced. We want you to have only a good solution, so we're only going to give you the most reliable people, and you're going to talk to the CEO right away so that you can get things started right away without a lot of delay. And a lot of times what happens is when you bring in somebody to your organization that's a really great vendor, you get recognized for, doing the right thing and the right amount of time, because a lot of times there's no time to be wasted. So what is the website that we have that faces the general business community? It's called resourcereferralcenter.com. And then our resources page is called resources. And on that, we take all B2B services and we divide them into these 9 categories of revenue generation, financing, technology, talent management and HR, employee wellness and safety, security and crisis management, professional services, facility management, operations, and expenses. We look at all the different kinds of vendors that are B2B, and we make it easy to find. So, and just by going here, click it, you'll see all the drop down with all the various roles that we have filled so far with current members. And then look at them, look at their profiles, look at their case studies, look at their testimonials. Then you'll see a button that says introduce me. And if you click that button, we will send you an email with an introduction so that you and the vendor can get together and create your own engagement, whatever services you need that they can fulfill. And we love it when we hear happy stories. So if it works out well, get back to us and tell us, listen, this was a great vendor you introduced me to. Or vice versa, if something doesn't go right, we want to see if we can help you make it right. And so that's what the Resource Referral Center is all about. And we feature our members, like we're featuring today, in a webinar. And so our panelists today are Patty and Nancy. Patty is a principal at Employee Benefits Advisors Group. She's been quoted in a number of magazines and trade publications and on TV, and she's been noted at various kinds of trade associations. And she's trained hundreds of insurance agents on the kinds of ways that their benefits can be integrated into what an employer actually wants. She is the founder of the New York chapter of National Association of Insurance and Benefit Professionals. And she's actually endorsed by the New Jersey Metro Builders Association. So she's a very high profile person in her field. Nancy leads Larrick Associates. That's the oldest purely promotional product company in the country. And she's the third generation Larrick who's been running this company. She provides those products and awards and trade shows and employee engagement kinds of materials for many of her clients. And she's always sensitive to the price people need to pay. She has actually been featured herself as a part of an elite group of distributors. She's earned her MAS, Masters of Ad Specialties. Her company in its third generation, of course, has 60 years of combined experience, and they do a lot of good things, or else they wouldn't be in business that long. So that's who's presenting to us today. And to frame the context of what we're going to talk about, I'm going to talk to you about what makes happy employees, or what makes happy customers, those happy employees. So we all want happy customers, right? We all want customers to come back over and over again because they're happy and they give referrals. But how do you have happy customers? Well, if you have happy employees and they're happy to work for the company, customers can sense that. They can sense that this employee really enjoys working for the company, enjoys selling those products or coordinating or whatever their job function is. So there's been some studies that actually show this to be true. There was a study that compared Glassdoor, which does a lot of employee reviews, with the ratings to the American Customer Satisfaction Index. And when the two of them were paired, then they show that for every star, a 5-star improvement in a company's Glassdoor rating, it corresponds to a 1.3 point improvement in customer satisfaction scores, which, if you look at, is statistically significant. And that's the general business community. But when you focus on things where service is really important, such as hospitality and retail and food service and healthcare, there's a 3.2 increase in customer satisfaction. And of course, that includes sales associates from any industry, or cashiers, baristas, and bank tellers. So it's pretty far reaching. So you really want to focus on the happy employees that are going to help you yield happy customers. And so what makes a great employee? Well, sometimes we call that top talent. People who are knowledgeable, but also pleasant to work with. They enjoy your culture. They promote your culture, and they really understand customer service skills too, whether their customer is external or whether their customers are internal. If you have an internal customer, they're servicing other people in the organization, so those people can serve the external customers. So you really want to have an empowering culture. And because people don't quit their companies, they quit their managers. You want to have an empowering manager. That means good management training throughout your managerial staff. People need to be appreciated and valued. And that's especially you're going to hear more about that when Nancy talks about employee gifts and how they really help employees feel appreciated and valued. Certainly what's been in the news a lot is flexible work hours and work location, perhaps remote and hybrid work, having managers and leadership be sensitive to the needs of the individual worker. Individual workers want career growth opportunities and training and coaching so that they can grow in their career. And of course, the competitive salary is in that top 4 to 6 things that people identify they want. It's never the top anymore, but it's all those other things that are on top. Competitive salary is down near around number 4 or 6 on their prioritized list. And of course, employee benefits that they want, that's on the list too. And not just any employee benefits, it's employee benefits that they want and that fit their lifestyle. So that's the framework for what we're going to address today. And so now I'm going to bring Patty on. And Patty, can you start now and tell us what's new in employee gifts and benefits, but really addressing benefits for 2023?
Absolutely. Next slide. Okay. I think all of us can agree after hearing Jerry talk, benefits are never just about benefits. Benefits are the first introduction employees have to your company's culture. They play a big part in influencing employee loyalty, retention, and just overall wellness and happiness with the company. And they're very important in terms of employee retention and recruiting. So that's their place, and they can sometimes make or break a company. Next slide, please. Okay. Since COVID, there's been a lot of change around the benefits arena. And here's some of the big things that have been motivating it. We have an aging workforce, and we have a multi-generational workforce. So imagine having to satisfy 5 different levels of employees. Baby boomers, who are between the ages of 59 to 77, Gen X between 43 and 68, millennials who are aged 27 to 42, and now Gen Z is starting to come into the workforce, and they're anywhere from age 11, which is way too young, but that goes all the way up to age 26. So that's a big issue. And with an aging workforce, you get a lot of chronic diseases that need to be managed. And it's a real challenge to have a health insurance company offer you disease management programs, but getting employees to commit to them and stick with them. So that's also a little bit about where Nancy can come in with rewarding people who do stick to them. And now we've seen a lot of mental health issues coming up with people being isolated from working at home to having trepidations about coming back to the office. So mental health has taken a new emphasis in the benefit world. And I've seen everything from employee assistance programs to online psychotherapy sessions and on and on. And along with that, a lot more telemedicine subscriptions and things like that, because I don't know if you've noticed it, but if you've tried to make an appointment with your doctor lately, it can take months to get a meeting. I tried to see a doctor. I made an appointment in November, and I got the appointment for January. That's how long it took to see a doctor. In addition to that, there's a big shift to technology now, and we're seeing a lot more of online enrollment, ID cards that you can print yourself. You can check your claims online. There are programs you can do online, and so on and so forth. And that tends to be very popular. So what challenges the employer faces is just that. How do you reduce the claims and get people committed to programs that they need to be committed to? And I mentioned it before, you need to do something to reinforce their desire to stay healthy and follow mandates, because I know there are plenty of people out there who don't want to reduce their salt intake, don't want to give up their steak every night, don't like exercise, but it's all good for them. So how do you convince them that it is good for them? It's a challenge. You can put wellness programs in, but you have to be very sensitive to what if you have people with disabilities? How do you incent them without discriminating? That's another issue. And how do you address employees who work in a hybrid environment? I know for employers, it's been very difficult to feel that they're getting the same productivity out of employees. And yet statistics show that sometimes employees working from home are even more productive. So those are some of the challenges. And what I say is, next slide, please. The more you know about your employees, the better you can create the right benefit program for your company and your employees. And I'm a big believer, you need to survey employees. You need to find out what works for them, what doesn't work for them, what are they using, what aren't they using? Because a lot of times the business owner has one idea of what a terrific health plan is, and it's not what the employees actually use. So sometimes a lot of business owners will pay too much because they want out-of-network benefits, and none of the employees go out of network, for example. So maybe you need 2 plans in place. also, sometimes employees, if you put it out on the table and let them know, this is what we got as a rate increase, would you be willing to have a higher deductible if it meant less contributions on your pocket? They might say yes. And they might appreciate voluntary benefits that you can get them at a discount on things like life insurance or disability insurance, long-term care, because it comes through the employer rather than them going out and buying it on their own. And then there are a lot of different age groups that want different things. This came out of Forbes and it surprised me a little bit, but your employees who are between 18 and 41, 30% of them want pet insurance as a benefit. The ones who are between 42 and 57, 40% of them want more paid time off. And the ones who are over age 42, they all want employer paid health care. So that's one way to look at things. The other thing is you have to make sure your benefits fit with your company's enterprise planning. Are you growing? Are you shrinking? Are you status quo? Your benefit programs need to support that for you. And then if you have individuals who have special needs, you need to be able to accommodate them so that they feel that you've got their welfare in mind and you're supporting them as well. Next slide. Okay. I wanted to take a closer look at two programs that are becoming very, very popular. One is financial education, and the other is long-term care, both as an insurance product and as a caregiver support thing. And what they both have in common is something that you probably heard a lot about these days: work-life balance. Both of them are addressing stress reduction from different ways. But the main goal is, let's get the stress out of people's lives, because stress leads to medical conditions, which leads to increased claims, which what does it do? Increased health insurance premiums. And you can see up to $3 billion per year in health claims due to stress-related conditions. It also impacts employee productivity and hence profitability for your companies. So again, we want to make sure we're supporting employees and getting the most out of them and making them feel secure and comfortable. So you can see that a company that supports its employees has very far-reaching impacts on everything else that goes on in the company. So the first case study, next slide, looks at financial education. And there's actually two levels to financial education. There's a base level for people who really don't have much knowledge about it. And then there's probably a higher level for executives who want more types of like investment advice and things like that. But for your basic employee, and this is surprising, but money is a huge stressor, and stressed employees can waste 20 hours or more talking to creditors, shifting money around to pay bills, worrying about financial issues. And that stress also costs everyone a lot of money. Price Waterhouse did a survey. They said that due to financial stress, it costs employers an average of $88.75 per employee per year. That's huge. That's huge. So in this particular study, in the next slide, after a 5-week course, first off, I have to tell you that after this course, 87% of the employees asked to have more financial education. But they came away with not just a better understanding of money, but the people who took the course created an emergency account. They increased their savings. They learned how to budget. They paid down some of their debt. And they understood what their credit score was. And that's huge. That's a great stepping stone to build on for many employees who had absolutely no idea. All they knew was they were living paycheck to paycheck. Now, I don't know what state everybody is in. I just found out recently that in New Jersey now, It's a law that by grade 12, everyone must have a financial literacy course, which I think is absolutely terrific. But for people who didn't get that in school, something like this is so appreciated. I can't tell you. It really shows that you care about the lives of your employees. Next slide. Next slide. Here we go. Okay. What's happening in New York, and it's happening in many states around the country, is if you haven't had somebody in your family who's needed long-term care, which is basically custodial care when you get older, it's assistance with activities of daily living, which are eating, dressing, bathing, toileting, transferring from a chair to a bed, continence, or being supervised because you have a cognitive impairment like Alzheimer's. Most people don't know that your health insurance does not cover it. Medicare does not cover it. It's hugely expensive. And it forces people in retirement to spend down their savings and qualify for Medicaid in most cases. States realize that with the advent of the baby boomers, which will be the first largest group of seniors in this country, states can't afford to do this anymore. So they're passing laws that say, if you don't have a long-term care insurance policy, we're going to tax your payroll. Washington State started it. There's a bill pending in New York State right now that says that they will start taxing your payroll once it's passed. And if you haven't had a long-term care insurance policy by the first of the year that law goes into effect, you're in trouble. In addition to that, next slide. Between an aging workforce and an aging population, and the fact that employees now become caregivers, because what happens, you go to the doctor's office with mom or dad, they take care of them, but then they say, oh, your kids are going to take care of you. So what happens is your kids become caregivers. Talk about stress. Caregiving is one of the top 3 stressors in life. It costs employers $50 billion a year in loss of profitability and productivity from their employees. And it impacts women and minorities much more than any other group of employees. The average employee caregiver spends at least 25 hours a week, if not more, and they reach into their own pocketbooks to pay for a lot of this care. So what happens is they get financial stress on top of all of this, because now they have to worry about their retirement and paying for their own long-term care. So what's happened is 2 things. Recently, there are several carriers that come out with group long-term care plans, which are very affordable, that the employer can sponsor and either pay for part of it or have the employees pay for it. And in conjunction with that, there are companies now that offer caregiver assistance for employees. They help them make decisions about what kind of care, where to get the right documents for mom or dad, all the way through to end of life decisions. And they're very, very inexpensive. I think the last one I spoke to was something like $15 an employee. But talk about relieving the stress and getting employees in a state of mind where they can focus on their work and their productivity. It's just phenomenal. So this is the other big trend now that I've seen in benefits. Next slide. Okay. This is just a list to give you an idea of some of the benefits that I've been seeing articles about lately that I think you might want to consider. Obviously, health and wellness is number 1, and after that comes retirement. And now we're seeing employees asking for life insurance, and you can usually get very good rates through an employer-sponsored plan. Flex work is a big one. People like paid time off is a big one. as is performance-based development opportunities. You show me that you're good at something, I'm going to reward you by giving you a chance to attend a program, get a certification, something like that. Employee assistance programs are making a comeback, especially for managers who need to discuss things about employees and for employees who want to just have short-term therapy rather than letting it be a claim on the health insurance. Parental leave and child support, caregiving assistance, and of course, what employee doesn't want a discount or a perk, as well as what we just went through, financial wellness. So those are some of the top plans I'm seeing right now. And I think that's the end of my presentation. Is Nancy?
Thank you very much, Patty. Can you
Yeah.
just give one or two instances of how an employer can save some money on any of these things?
Well, absolutely. I mean, the most important thing an employer can do is understand his employee population. And as I mentioned earlier, surveying your employees to find out what they're using, what they're not using, what they like, what they don't like is very important. I think it's also important to know what is a benchmark in your industry. What are your competitors offering? Do you want to be on status quo with them? Do you want to do better to attract top talent? And then I'm sure most of you have brokers that you're working with, but I always tell everyone, including my own clients, talk to other brokers because you can be very creative with benefits, but one idea from me might be different than what you might get from somebody else. And maybe that idea is better. So you want to know what's out there and you want to work with brokers that give you the gamut. So you see all your options and you can make an informed decision. You also want to look at different ways to fund your benefits. For some companies, a traditional plan where an actuary looks at the demographics of the group, comes up with a number and says, this is what it's going to cost you, whether you actually incur these claims or not, but it's a flat number throughout the year. For other groups, you're better off self-insuring because you're only going to pay for the claims that are incurred, but you need to have a healthy group for that. So the health status of the employees is an important consideration in that matter. And then you want to make sure the services, whatever broker you work with, are there for your needs. You want somebody who's going to educate the employees, advocate for them, handle any issues that come up throughout the year, who update you with legislative requirements and updates, and holds everyone's hand, whatever the issue is, day in and day out, and starts all over again when you get your next renewal.
Thanks, Patty. Nancy, you're up.
Okay, first slide, please. So next slide, please. For HR professionals, we've heard it in the news, we've all experienced it. Our greatest challenge is to hire great talent and to retain great talent and to keep them motivated. And the statistics back this up. More than 3/4 say HR professionals' greatest challenge is to hire and retain these people, and their greatest fear, also based on surveys of over 3/4 of the population, say losing these employees are the greatest fear. So we have been told that the number one reason that people leave their jobs is because they don't get along with their managers. So we promote giving nice gifts to show in a tangible way that employees are valued. And our industry has done a survey, and they have seen that when asked, do you like receiving thoughtful gifts from your employer or manager? I mean, this is one. Can you switch out of slideshow? Or if not, those are the statistics. So next slide. Yes, they want to. Okay, let's get out of the. I'll just show my pie chart. So get out of the. It's this. It will be, anybody can get this. So this is one pie chart showing that 3/4 of people like getting gifts from their employers and managers and/or managers. and the gifts that they like, especially, are branded gifts. So more and more, we are getting gifts, tangible ways to show appreciation and to show or to recognize employees' contributions to the firm and show that they're valued. So I think our number 1 and 2 requests, excuse me, are for high-end apparel like Patagonia, like North Face. And I'll get in later, excuse me, to show that the sustainability element is ever so important. And there are so many other ways to show employee recognition. In fact, there's an employee recognition, employee appreciation day, where we give out chocolate bars. I don't happen to have their chocolate bar that we just did, but we do custom chocolate bars, and it says thank you on one side. On the other side, there's a QR code asking employees to go to a certain site to do something, whether it's a survey or what. We're doing crossbody bags now to thank employees for filling out a survey. A very common award is a sales award or an award for volunteering. So this would be one award for having volunteered. This would be another award for reaching a sales achievement. And these are constant reminders of achievements. These are shown, these are ego boosters. People come in and go, wow, you won that thing. So you've got a 2-tiered achievement here. You've got increased sales, and you have recognition for the people who contributed to those sales and made certain goals. Baby slide, please. They're a very nice way to show that you care about your employees is for commemorate life events. So when employees have babies, what nicer way is there to show congratulations, we appreciate you. So we've done onesies, we've done baby gifts, onboarding gifts. People are working remotely and hybrid, and it's very nice to go on a Zoom call and see, next slide, that everybody's wearing the same gift, in this case. So be it a jacket, a vest, and these are sometimes called Wall Street vests. Everybody's wearing the same thing. And employees like to know, and when they see this, they know they're working as a team together. They're apart, they're not having the water cooler conversations, they miss the interaction. So being remote and having this on Zoom, they're all wearing the same things. More and more, we're doing staff shirts. So when people show up, they're all wearing the same shirts. It creates a sense of team and of cohesion. And this all reinforces a company's positive culture. You can get out of the screen. I'll show some things now. I mean, some of it, when you're drinking coffee, this happens to be a coffee cup. This is a sustainable one from Hydro Flask that contributes back to parks. But Frank just pulled up his coffee, took a drink from his coffee. Well, everybody's drinking from the same coffee. Again, teamwork, cohesion. It's a way to bring people together and to meld them to the company. More and more, we are concentrating on the sustainable features of gifts. People don't want to just get more stuff. They want stuff that contributes to the environment. So whether it's bamboo, whether it is recycled materials. I mean, this is made from recycled bottles. This is a cooler pack that I folded up. Or this happens to be a crossbody bag, which is something we're doing for filling out a survey. We are picking up ocean plastic, uncluttering the ocean from all that ugly plastic. So this is all made from ocean plastic. Sometimes people just want to be nice. Companies will give, like an investment bank gave out water bottles one year, moleskins another year, and at the holidays, they have banker's bags they gave to everybody. And this is a prestigious, expensive bag, but it shows the value that they put in their employees. And it's tangible, it stays. So every time you walk around, people see that, and it reinforces your attachment to the company, and it's an ego boost. In fact, somewhere I have a dog leash. And there's another thing that we did. When people get a dog, so many people have dogs. You give them a leash, they walk around and inevitably see other dog owners. Oh, you work for such and such a company. Oh, so again, it's an ego boost. Another example of a tie to the company, building relationships. That's what all these gifts are for. They are to build relationships and create a positive employee relationship. And also, even in recruiting, law firms are famous for this. They will give out gifts. I mean, this is one we did for Working Hard. I'm not going to handle of it, but law firms are famous for giving very generous gifts because they want their top talent and they want them to stay. So they constantly gift them and make them feel good about that. Let's see. What I'm trying to think of my next slide is. Let's see, as examples, we also work with gifts that are part of a give back and eco-conscientious gifts. So these are some firms or some brands that are part of a certified B corporation. That means it's a nationally recognized, environmentally friendly company. And more people want to do this so that they know they're giving something back to our planet, and especially for millennials. Next slide. And they're also what they call give back programs. So these are companies and brands that will donate part of their sales or profits to corporations. So whether it's Hydro Flask that gives back to parks, Patagonia that for 40 years has been famous for giving back to environmental companies. Mir is another drinkware brand that where they print something on the bottom, it's a QR code, and you can see where your money is going, again, to environmental groups. And these days we can get out of this now, the slideshow. We are trying to train our clients to save money. And to do that, we got to think ahead. So do not wait till the last second. Think down the road. What can I do for my employees? Think, oh, it would be wonderful if 6 months ahead. That's not always reasonable, but sometimes it is. 3 months is ideal. These days with higher interest rates, corporations are not investing in a lot of inventory. It's critically important. You get the gift you want. Don't let anybody else get in there first. Give us your order, even if you have to tinker with the artwork. We put the order in, it reserves the inventory for you. Because as the year progresses, as we get closer to the holidays in particular, inventory will disappear. You're not going to get your first choice. You're not going to get your second choice. And I mean, in January, everything is sold out. So sometimes when we do awards for people who have made a certain level, and let's say that's the President's Club, whatever they want to call it, the awards aren't there because they're all sold out. So think ahead. And thinking ahead also lets us order from local companies. Local companies will save you money on shipping. It will save you time. And it will ensure that the goods and the gifts are there that you want, as well as reducing your carbon footprint. So in closing, last slide, think about how your employees look after they get a gift. And think about how you felt when you got a gift. So if you want ideas, you can switch out of this now. Feel free to brainstorm with us, contact sales at Lyric or call us. We will put the information in the chat. It's at no cost to you to brainstorm. I like coming up with ideas. I've been doing this for 43 years. And if you order, mention the code RRC and you get 10% off your first order. So that's it. And I'll welcome any questions.